Hey everyone, this is Kevin Romines with Geneva Financial Branch 1700, also a founding member of South Sound Real Estate Networking. In today's video, we're going to talk about what the investors need, the questions that the investors have. We didn't have a presenter, and we wanted to leave it open to any questions that the group had. So we did a roundtable type of discussion and introduced ourselves. And then from there, we went into question and answer type session. And so it was a small, intimate group, but I think you'll find some very, very good information out of this video today. And I hope you like it. So let's jump into it right now. All right. Yeah. Why don't we kick this thing off? I'm sure we'll probably have more attendees that show up as we go. But again, my name is Kevin Romines. Myself and Rick are the founders of South Sound Real Estate Networking. I'm going to introduce my group and Rick, and then we'll go through the rest and have everybody introduce themselves. And then today is all about you. What are your goals? What are you hoping to do? What are you hoping to get off the ground? That kind of thing. So again, my name is Kevin Romines. I'm a mortgage lender. I provide hard money. I provide all the conventional loans, that kind of thing. So if you're looking to take down a property, you would come to me, tell me what property you've got, what kind of goals that you have with it, and I will match you up with the correct program and or the correct hard money lender or fix and flip lender, and we'll take the property off the market, get you funded for the purchase and the rehab, and away you go. So that's my role. Caitlin, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. I'm Caitlin. I do the marketing for Geneva. I run the social media. I keep these boys in line. I put this event together and all that fun stuff. Most of the customer service that's not loan related comes through me. So that's pretty much it.
Very nice. And yes, we call her the Kraken because if things don't happen, she's going to be released.
She's going to be cracking that whip against you.
Oh, yeah. And then Terrell, do you want to introduce yourself?
It's 2021.
I'm Terrell. I'm the little Kevin. Doing loan officer stuff, but still trying to walk with the big kid shoes. Trying to get it going. Gene, I very much like the new background. And that's about all I got.
All right. Hey, Rick, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. So I'm Rick Villamil, as Kevin said, co-founder of South Sound Real Estate Networking. So even though I have, a 9-to-5 job, if you want to call it that, I consider myself a bit of a serial entrepreneur, because at some point at almost every year of my life, I have had some kind of business going on. So I've been I had a computer consultancy back in Duluth. Back before I even got into computers, I did a lot of construction work that I freelanced on, mostly doing finished carpentry type of work. And now, I own a Limeberry frozen yogurt store. Plus I'm a real estate investor, and it's like, I just like to get my hands everywhere. Oh, that's a little bit about me.
Good for you. Gene, do you want to introduce yourself?
That's Terrell. That's Talon and Rico, just so you know. Back there. Brown one's Talon. He's mine. So my name's Jean Falb. I'm an enrolled agent and a certified tax coach. And so obviously taxes are my thing. I like to create advanced tax strategies for customers. Kind of think about, if you go to a CPA or a generalist, you're going to get compliance work. If you want a specialist, you go to the dermatologist, or you go to the you go to the specialist. And so I specialize in tax reduction.
Nice.
There you go.
Something that everybody could use, I'm sure.
Yep.
Clay, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, what's up, folks? I'm Clay, the serial lurker. That's what I do everywhere, pretty much. Yeah. So, like I said, I'm getting my real estate license, right, so that I can start, even breathing, sleeping this stuff, right, and building some capital, right. My goal is to, get to that. I'll probably only ever sell like 25, maybe 30 houses, and then hopefully transition into actually real estate investing from that, right. Never spend that money on rent. Right. Never spend that on the mortgage, and just take all that money, keep my day job, and then fold that into doing that stuff, and hopefully transition out of my 9 to 5 with that.
Fantastic.
We'll see if that's realistic or not. Right.
What do you do on your 9 to 5 right now, Clay?
I work for the state. I break software.
And Rick fixes it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I'm a software tester for the state, and I've been doing that for 5 years in September. And so, yeah, I'm going to put my 5 years in, and then see what transitioning out of that looks like in the next year or two.
Too bad you're not enthusiastic.
We happen to be hiring a
Sarcastic.
tester.
Well, there you go.
Oh man, don't tell me that. Oh.
Yeah, you and Rick need
We
to talk.
just hired our QA lead, and we still have another tester that we're hiring. I just hired a senior integrator. We've got at least another integrator that we're looking for.
Okay, maybe we have to talk offline.
This is a 5-year. This is a 5-year COTS implementation project. Right.
Well, that would actually work out really well with my transition plan, right? To get out of this in the next few years. But that's something I have to think about, man. Maybe I'll hit you up.
Hit me up offline. This is about real estate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, you never know where everything's going to go, right?
But that's me, right? Yeah, always taking opportunities, building board games on the side, playing music, all kinds of stuff. So yeah.
Fantastic.
Might even talk to you about breaking our new app for Limeberry.
I can do it.
I love that. You're like, I break things. That's what I do.
There you go. Hey Ryan, good to see you. I don't think you've been to one of our meetings before. You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, definitely. Nice to meet you all. I'm Ryan. I recently found you guys on one of the Bigger Pockets forums, so I thought I'd give it a try and see what you guys are kind of about. I guess to give a little bit of background, I recently graduated in May, and I'm actually from New Jersey. Went to school in upstate New York. Flew across to Seattle to start my job. By day, I'm a software engineer. So just basically staring at a screen and programming all day. And then in October, I closed out my first house hack. Got kind of the real estate bug in college. Had been waiting to pull the trigger. Saved up some money from internships. So living in that property right now, renting out the rooms. And then I'm actively looking for like another property, trying to get into the rehab. I know a lot of people are talking about using the burst strategy. It's super competitive. And so for me, I wanted to leverage a partnership to not only mitigate some risk, but also have multiple minds. So I actually met 2 other people over Bigger Pockets. They're in the area. They actually recently started their job too. So we have been trying to just find what market might be the best, if it's out of state or in state. And so for the past month, we've been kind of looking at Tacoma. We've actually almost made a few offers on a few deals, but we actually haven't made any yet. So we're kind of just looking and networking around and just trying to really understand the area, because we're all pretty new.
Yeah.
What do you got to bring to the table?
Yeah.
For the partnership?
Yeah. What do you got to bring to the table?
Yeah, so the biggest thing for us is that since we're all fairly new, we're trying to leverage the fact that like we'll just learn together. So it's a 33.3 percent split between all of us. So we understand the fact that if you can delegate tasks for a partnership, it can be super effective. But I think one of the number one things for us is we want to absorb as much as we can. So even if it's repeating deal analysis, analyzing it multiple times through different perspectives, we're kind of at that stage now that's what we're kind of doing. At least for me though, I like to keep things super organized. So we have like an Asana board where we keep track of our meeting agendas. We'll meet twice a week. I'll always make sure like there's action items going ahead. So every week we're always working on stuff. And so like we have specific goals, reaching out to at least like 6 to 7 people over bigger pockets, funneling that down to maybe at least one conversation, analyzing at least 5 to 10 deals a week. So small stuff like that, I like to set in place, almost like a micromanaging, but also kind of learning at the same time.
Absolutely. Sounds like you're right on task. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I tell you, breaking into the business can be kind of slow and arduous sometimes. But honestly, if you know the right people, the people around you can help propel you forward a lot quicker sometimes. And so it's always good to network it with as many people as you could possibly network with. And so if you're a part of multiple groups, you'll get a very good sense very quickly how long, what it's going to take to get something off the ground and that kind of thing. So I applaud your efforts. And honestly, it sounds like you're young enough that if you go out there and get a bunch of things under your belt, it's not going to be too long and you're going to have a nice little kind of a retirement built. So that's a good thing.
I'm impressed. That was solid. You know what your objective is and how you want to get there. And I think that joining us like in this meeting could be very beneficial for you. We've seen a lot of different networking happen from other invites, and I'm super glad you joined us through Bigger Pockets because that tells me it's working.
Oh yeah. Well, thank you, Terrell, for helping me set that up because we weren't. I was not getting it right, and actually, Caitlin actually fixed both of us, so she got it right. So, hey, Caitlin. So I kind of want to revisit a conversation just to kick this off. This was a conversation that Gene and I had, and it was spawned off of a conversation on Facebook on one of the Facebook groups that I was in. And I started questioning myself as to, do I have it right? And so I reached out to Gene, and Gene was able to kind of help me see the path that I was on seemed like it was correct, but there's some gray area where things can be a little different. And the question was, how are flips taxed? And all my research has told me flips are taxed as ordinary income, so whatever tax bracket you happen to be in, plus 15.2% for self-employment tax, because you're the employer, you're also the employee, you got to pay both sides. Other people within that conversation were saying, no, it's capital gains. It's either short or long-term capital gains. And I was like, no, you're not right. Finally, I started questioning myself, so I reached out to Gene. And Gene, do you want to kind of walk through some of those answers? Because that's an important thing for all people that are in this business.
So yeah, especially to Ryan, if you guys are thinking about doing that as a partner, that's going to flow to you and you're going to get that double hit of tax. Or if you do in a flip situation, not in a long-term rental. You probably already know that. He probably already has a CPA at the rate he's going on. So you're right, Kevin. And, without really knowing the whole situation, I don't really see a direct pathway to turn that into a capital gain because it's the nature of the asset and it's the intent of the property. It's not or the intent of what you're going to do with the property. And flipping is considered inventory, and Rick's over there. He's my backup doing this. So I don't know how they were getting there, and it's a little dangerous to try to figure out what they did. And did you ever go back and ask for details, or they didn't share it?
Well,
is that true?
The conversation was specifically about flipping. And so in terms of going back and forth, I kind of just left it where it was. But if somebody's truly talking about flipping, they're not talking about putting the property into service as an income producing property or a rental. And that would be the only way that it could be treated as capital gains. So I guess the next question is there some kind of time frame? So let's say that somebody they flip the property, their ultimate disposition is they want to sell it, but let's say they rent it for 2 or 3 months. Could they then go capital gains on that?
So again, it's situation specific, just to, to give you the adult diaper answer depends. But there are some, I got a million of them, Caitlin.
Yeah,
She's laughing. But there are some tests that if it were to get audited, questioned, whatever you want to say, there are certain factors that the IRS is going to look at, and there's a number of them. I want to say there's like 15, and so and some are weighted more than others. So you want to be able to substantiate the activity. For example, you can't just go stick a for rent sign in there and then not really rent it. As an example, maybe just have it on for 2 weeks or something. And it would be difficult in this market because you're going to rent it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, people are going to wish to rent it. So there's like, do you have a sales? I'm just trying to remember, do you have a sales office? Do you have sales flyers? Do you have other properties that you rent? That's about all I can remember out of the list, but there's more. There's quite a few. So you have to really set up the scenario properly and show proper intent to convert that, basically to convert that to an investment property, ergo capital gains.
Okay. So I thought I was on the right path, but boy, they were throwing out a decent enough argument. It made me question things. So, but I kind of thought that was the case. On another note, so I had mentioned that one of my hard money lenders will, if you can get the seller of land to carry back 25 or 30%, or even the seller of a property that you want to flip, carry back 25 to 30%, they'll fund the rest of it, including the flip, or including the rehab. So does it really take money to get something off the ground? Not necessarily. So regarding that conversation, I happen to, so Lane and Shane are a couple of my flippers, and they sent me some stuff the other day, and I was looking at it and was like, and then this was through Zillow, and then there was ads down below that said similar properties. So I clicked on one of the similar properties, and I was like, oh, holy cow, I got to send this out to the guys. So I sent it out to the guys. We had a conversation. Lane put together the ability to go and show us the property on Saturday. And we put our offer in on Monday, and we are now under contract. So, yay! It's a property in Winlock. It is on almost 3 acres. It's a brand new manufactured home, never been lived in. It's got a small metal garage, pole barn style garage, but it's small. And then it also came with 2 other 1 3/4 acre parcels, separate parcels already parceled up. So what we've decided we're going to do is we're going to immediately put the manufactured home on the market for sale. They wanted $400,000 for everything. We felt like we had to come a strong offer, which thank God we did, because there was other offers. So we came in at $450,000. The other offers were a little bit lower than ours, plus ours was cash. The other offers were traditional loans. So we beat them out. We're going to probably put the manufactured home on 2 acres back on the market for $375,000. And then that will give us the other 2 lots for about $75,000 between the 2 of them, or $37,500 for each. And then from there, we're either going to sell the lots, or we're going to put manufactured homes on the lots. And we anticipate about a $400,000 sales price on the 2 homes. So we did all that. We didn't necessarily have to have money, although we do. So at any rate, that's our latest and greatest deal. Shane was supposed to join us tonight, but for whatever reason, he hasn't showed up. So anyway, It can be done without money.
They have drum practice on Tuesdays, so it's hard for them to make it guaranteed. So
Yeah, Lane does.
yeah.
So Shane said he'd be here tonight, but he hasn't shown up just yet. So anyway, we're pretty pumped, pretty excited about that. We've got a couple of exits for when it comes to lots. So, and I pulled comps. I mean, right around the corner from my house is 6 lots for $150,000 each, 2 acres. We're 1 3/4 acres. So, you know, we had solid lot comps. We had solid manufactured home comps. Well, and they started with a list price of 400, and all 3 of the offers came in over 400 because it, you know, it's the nature of the beast right now. That's the offers got to come in strong. So yeah, I'm pretty anxious. Hopefully we get it back on the market very, very soon and go from there.
Does
Matter
it
of fact, I
have,
might even have a buyer for it.
does it have like cedar siding?
It's 131 Silver Thistle.
Oh, all right. Oh, I know right where that is. That's kind
Yeah.
of secluded.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yep.
It's
Okay.
just up Tennessee Road, and then it's a little gravel road going up the hill from there. There's a lot of timber. We may get to the point where we have somebody come and cruise the timber and see if there's any value in it. On the one hand, I don't really want to clear all the timber, but on the other hand, we'll pick up a view if we do. So I don't know. I wouldn't want to see a lot of stumpage though.
Who would you use if you?
I would have to figure that out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this whole thing came together in 2 days.
Oh,
So-
okay.
Yeah, I mean, we've had hardly any time to kind of look into it. We did just get the well and the septic documents. The well was a bit more expensive than what I thought. And I'm kind of surprised it was at that kind of price. So that's a little concerning for me, but not bad.
So you brought up the whole topic of so do you have to have money? And one of the things that I've been working with Kevin on is I got some potential deals going on in Grays Harbor. Found another one too, Kevin, and I'm going to forward that to you.
Okay.
But you know, my capital right now is tied up in this flip that I'm working on, and I don't like having my money tied up, but it is what it is. And so, you know, well, what can I do to expedite a deal even before that other one closes? And we talked about, you know, I'd say it's a little bit more advanced real estate investment strategy. If you have the assets to do that, and that's cross collateralization.
Right.
So you want to talk a little bit about cross collateralization and what that entails?
So cross collateralization is where, can I use you as an example?
You sure can.
Okay. So Rick, as an example, has his primary residence. He has one rental that he's already rehabbed and it's renting out right now, and it's got good equity. He's got another property that is a flip that's getting ready to hit the market. So he was at a point of, okay, I want to pull the trigger on the next deal, but I don't have any capital. So we talked about cross collateralization. What that means is with his rental property where he's got a lot of equity, then we can put a secondary lien on the rental, and that secondary lien takes the place of a down payment. So at that point, he's not physically coming up with a down payment. We're just placing a lien on his rental property. And so long as he's got the right amount of equity, which he does, then we can place a lien, because the main thing from a lender standpoint, most hard money lenders are wanting to limit themselves to 70, 75% ARV. So ARV is after repair value. So in Rick's case on his rental, we guesstimate, but we feel pretty confident that it's worth about 215, 210, 215, because it came in at 195 a year ago. So, and I won't say what he owes, but he doesn't owe that much.
I'll
And
say
so-
it. I owe I owe 115, not even 115. So there's $100,000 in equity on it.
And because he's got $100,000 in equity, the lender's going to look at it from the standpoint of, okay, the max we would loan is 70 or 75% on that. So they cut the 215 value down to 70 or 75%. And then they subtract out the mortgage, and the difference is the amount that they can place a lien on, which would be enough to cover a down payment and closing costs. So it's a technique that can be used where you don't have to necessarily go get another loan. And at that point, you're just dealing with the first mortgage on the new property that you're buying, plus the lien on the rental that you have. So that's a technique that we can use. Also, with that particular investor, they will do 100% financing. If you find something at 65% ARV, that's going to be kind of that's a hard situation to find, because you have to get the purchase plus the rehab done for a max of 65%. So it's a little bit harder to hit that. So cross collateralizing might be a better way to approach that. Do you want to hit the next conversation that we had on that, besides cross collateralizing?
Well, I had a question on that, if it's okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
So for something like that, since I guess I'm more along the lines of looking at like rental properties and not necessarily flips per se, but if you had a similar situation with a rental property, I want to know, I guess, from your perspective, between taking out like a HELOC from your house, assuming that this new rental property, you want it for the long term, is it better to do like if you have the equity, like a cash out refinance of your house, because of like that possibility of having your HELOC being called in like just today's world? Like, I don't know if one's safer than the other in today's market.
Okay, so
I'll let you start.
yeah, you got a few things kind of going on there. Okay, number one, the only time in history that, and I've been doing this for 25 years, the only time in history that HELOCs were called en masse across the nation was during the meltdown. And that's because the meltdown was so severe, lenders were afraid. And so they called the HELOCs. Unless we get to a situation of that nature and that magnitude, I don't foresee HELOCs being called. That said, there are some companies out there that are very conservative. Chase Bank, for one, has stopped doing all HELOCs, at least for now. So it's not that they're calling any, they haven't called any that they had out there. They just stopped. And I've had a couple of other banks that did that same kind of thing, but that's not the norm. The majority of lenders out there are still doing HELOCs. So unless we have something of a great magnitude, I don't see that happening. Then you mentioned a cash out refinance. So if you look at a cash out refinance, so the advantages of a cash out refinance, you can get the interest rate on that as a fixed rate, and it's going to be lower than a HELOC rate. Okay, so that's the advantage. The disadvantage is once you pull that money, you now have the payments associated. So you can't take that money and put it back and lower your payments. It's out, you're using it, you're paying for it. Whereas a HELOC, you don't pay on a HELOC until you have money out. And then it's like a credit card. You're going to pay it back. And if, let's say you get it down to zero again, well, while it's at zero, you've got no monthly payment. The disadvantage on a HELOC is it's always an adjustable rate, and it's a higher rate. So like 30-year fixed rates on a cash out for owner occupied would be something low threes right now. A HELOC is probably going to be 4, 5, 6%. So it's really just a matter of which model fits you the best. Now, the one thing I will say about a HELOC every investor really truly needs to have a HELOC, because if you don't have a HELOC, you're going to miss out on deals that you could move on very quickly if you did have the HELOC. So the HELOC is a very valuable tool in the investing world. And if you use it in the right way, you can pay a HELOC down a lot faster, and it's not money lost. It's basically, if you put $5,000 on a payment for your HELOC, now you have $5,000 extra dollars worth of availability on your credit line. So it's not money lost. So people want to, if you're going to advance, or if you're going to spend more money on payments, or pay larger chunks on payments, you're better to do that on a HELOC than on any other mortgage.
So
Can I
Kevin,
add something?
Yeah.
Oh, go
Yeah.
ahead. No, go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna ask, if you have a HELOC open and you're not using it, if you're going to a lender, do they see that HELOC that you have opened even though you're not using it, and considering it when they're doing your debt to income ratio? Will that play a part?
It's considered available credit, but it's not considered against your debt to income ratio because you don't owe anything on it.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yes and no.
Come see.
So
Go
some
ahead,
children-
go ahead and tell them the tax implications of that.
Oh, yeah.
I was just going to mention, and
Because
this is small.
her and I had this conversation
Yeah.
before.
So Ryan's way out here in the stratosphere, and this is just a tiny detail, and whether it influences you or not, I don't care. It's just to inform you. You're just starting out, and one of the advantages of a HELOC is that interest, if there is any, if you're using it, is attributable to that. And when you go to do your taxes, it's real clean. That goes to the rental. If you do the cashback refi on the primary residence, now you get into this weird allocation. Your tax preparer might not be, whatever. Is that a reason?
She'll still make it up nice.
Yeah. Is it a reason not to do the cashback refi? No, but it's just another layer. As you get into the buyer that is investment realty. Okay. Is there something else I should say, Rick? Or is that
No,
it? Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
But you'll still figure it out how to do that allocation.
Well, yeah.
And I say that is because that's how I got started. Was I did
Sure.
a cash
Yeah.
out refi on my
Sure.
primary, and then I used that to fund my first couple of deals.
Right. It's not unusual. It's a great plan. So, don't use my information as your deciding factor. Just another,
No, I
just more
just
to put
make
in your brain.
you just make her job harder. That's all.
And I'm going to charge you more. No, I'm just kidding.
So what you're also saying is there are times that money, depending on the use of that money, it can be tax deductible, or it can fall into personal use and therefore not tax deductible.
Well, and that's an excellent point. So if I can't use the tracing rules and say this $50,000 that you took a HELOC out is attributable to the rental, if you went and bought a new truck with it, it's not tax deductible. It has to either be to improve your primary residence, which is not, or it has to be used to invest in a real estate or business or something like that. What does that mean?
He was saying hi to Shane.
Oh, okay. As long as there's two fingers, I'm okay with that.
It's sign language.
Yeah, missing one is a different issue.
Welcome, Shane.
Oh, maybe.
I know.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, sorry about that. It's taking me forever to get on there. Finally got Kaylin's email.
Hey, do you want to introduce yourself to the group?
Sure, I'm Shane. I've been buying and selling houses for a little over a year now. Just picked up my fifth, signed on it a few weeks ago, and me, Kevin, Lane, and Justin are working on signing on what could possibly be number 6, 7, and 8.
Yeah, it's well, by all accounts, it should be 6, 7, and 8.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So
to make it happen.
1, 2, 3 for me, but you're,
Yeah, congratulations on jumping in.
yeah, it was time.
It is definitely.
You guys been doing a bunch of good stuff. I had to join. So I think we got a very fortunate deal on that one. And I explained to everybody kind of what we did. And so now we're just going through some due diligence and that kind of thing, but we'll wrap it up. And I think we got a first week of June wrap up. When the seller saw how fast we could wrap it up, we freaked them out. And they said, whoa, whoa, whoa. And they said, how about the first week of June? I'm like, okay, that's fine. So, so Ryan, I don't know if you know, but hard money can close in as little as 2-3 days to 10 days, 2 weeks, compared to a conventional loan at about 30 to 45 days. So it's a totally different animal. Are you familiar with hard money and fix and flip money?
Yeah, so we were originally actually looking to invest in San Antonio. So we found about a couple different hard money lenders and looked at some of their rates and their terms. And then so one of them actually also allows for us to invest in Washington, because we kind of pivoted back to Tacoma.
Sure.
We found 2 others, and so they were all pretty competitive. We're investing in an LLC, and we don't want to quit claim it. And the reason so is because we're looking to utilize, I guess, our other, because you can have like the 10 total loans. And we
Right.
didn't want our debt to income to be affected, because I think one of the caveats of a partnership is if you buy a house together in your just personal names, you all share the same amount of debt, but you have to split the income. So like that, and we didn't realize that at first. So that's why we started looking at the LLC route of putting 20% down. And so for right now, the hard money lenders that we've talked with and we're thinking about going is they were able to close between like 7 to 10 days.
Yep.
I think one of the issues we're having now is one of the partners is on H1 visa. And so some of the lenders are a little hesitant that that everybody has an equal amount of split, because most of the time they want to see that the person on the visa has less than a 20% stake in the LLC. So we're kind of just still figuring out kind of the ways around that right now.
The reason they say 20% is by all conventional standards, you are deemed self-employed if you own 25% or more of a company. So once you hit that, then you're deemed self-employed at that point, even if you've got a W-2 wage job besides that. So
Yeah, but on an H-1B, they're violating their visa agreement.
Are they? Is that how that?
Yeah.
Well,
You have to be, so on an H1, you have to come in, you're sponsored by the employer, and you have to be working for that employer. You can't be jumping between different employers, and I believe you can't even be self-employed. So you better
Really?
check with your immigration they need to check with their immigration lawyer to be sure that they are on the up and up and they can do that.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And I haven't personally looked into it, but from what I understand, he said he did. And he mentioned that he said he was able to be on the LLC and have above 25%, but he can't directly be responsible for certain jobs. So we can't be like a property manager, because that would account for another job. But he seemed to think, and we should definitely verify his sources on it, that he was able to be on the LLC in an equal split. But I think that's a really valid point.
Yeah, well, it's because I've worked with multiple people that are on H-1Bs.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that would be news to me. So I learned a little something tonight. And Terrell and I just closed a loan, a week ago. And this was my first one where the person is a resident, but not a US citizen, but they have the right to work in the United States through, I think it was through September before they renew. And I guess the way the rules read on the loans, so long as we close the loan before their documents expire, or if they're going to renew, then, so long as we close the loan before anything expires, we're good.
Who knows with what's going on in Washington?
Well, yeah, it changes, winds change every 4 years these days, or even 2 years. So,
yeah.
Yeah. So Shane, is you pumped? You excited to get to work on this one?
Always excited.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be fun. It's a long ways away for us, a little bit closer for you on this one.
Yeah, it is. What's interesting is every day Shane sends me stuff, and we're always looking towards the next deal. So who knows? We might be picking up
I'm
another
already looking. I'm
one
already
or
looking
two
for the next
deals.
5.
So right now you've got Yakult just about ready to hit the market, right?
It's supposed to go on Thursday evening, Friday morning.
Okay, so this week it's gonna hit the market. You just
Yes.
picked up 88th Court.
Yep, starting on it.
How long do you think it's gonna take you to rehab it and get it ready?
I'm hoping 6 weeks.
Okay, that's not
We have it
bad.
on
I
market.
want your contractor. I know he's your partner.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does good work.
Oh man, the work that he does is just amazing. So you guys are very blessed to be having him.
Yeah, I got another contractor in Oregon that I want to get busy too. He worked for me years ago. He does amazing work also.
Ah, okay.
If anybody's in Oregon and needs somebody that does really damn good work, let me know.
Cool.
I need to find.
Portland,
I need a
Vancouver.
referral for somebody in Grace Harbor.
Don't know anybody up there. And my daughter.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
She's all red now.
No point in running away. We're all friendly.
I got my earbuds in. She can't hear anything.
Oh, okay. Well then,
That's why I
like a
waved.
dork by myself.
well, yeah, I'm pumped to get that rolling, and there's probably more coming down the pike. I think wasn't Lane going to put in another lowball offer on that one that we were looking at?
Yeah, he's waiting to get the property reports to make sure there's nothing going on with the property, like bad soil or anything. And then we want to take a quick drive up there, look at it really quick, and see what it looks like.
I know right where it's at though. So
It's a pretty good area.
You're going to be capped in that area. I don't think that you're going to get beyond 300 grand. So that's going to be a tough one to shoehorn it in for all your all-in costs and still be able to get enough profit out of it. But it could be done.
Possibly. All the water, sewer,
Yeah,
septic, whatever. Electricity's already there. That cuts a lot out.
I don't know if you could reuse that foundation. You might have to pull it up and redo it, but we'll see.
Yeah, that's one of the bigger questions.
Yeah, but might as well throw out that low ball offer because I guarantee he's not going to get anywhere close to what he's asking for it.
No, it's already been on almost a month.
Has it?
Yeah, 24 days when I sent it to you.
Okay.
That's what Zillow said.
All right. Well, hey, we should have a good crack at it.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest part of why it's on for so long is nobody wants to pay $100,000 for it.
So the other thing that I made some phone calls today on our projects, but just to give you guys an idea, one of the things that can be problematic, and we're going to go through it, is the manufacturer's turn times for manufactured homes is getting ugly. As a matter of fact, I had one of the dealers tell me today, hey, if you would have called me 6 weeks ago, I would have told you 6 months and felt very, very confident about it. He goes, today, no go. It's a 1 year turn time. Well, guys like us cannot sit on deals for a year waiting for the home to be delivered. It's just not feasible. So we did have one dealer that is telling us we can pull from his lot. That's a rarity these days, and that could possibly even go away considering the factory situation. But, we're just going to cross that bridge and figure it out. So just another little thing that we got to kind of deal with, but that's with our setup, with new home placements and things of that nature. So Clay, when you get going, what model do you think you're going to lean towards?
I definitely buy and hold, just rentals, right? Try not to do too much fix and flip kind of stuff, right? I want to kind of make sure that I hold everything and just rent it out. So, you know, even if it is, you know, a burr strategy, right? It's still definitely going to be keep it for the long term. Um, yeah, just because I'm at the age where I need to be building equity, not worrying about cash flow, or not worrying about, you know, just getting into the game, right? That's why I got out of wholesaling right away, because I realized that's just another, you know, even worse than a 9 to 5 job.
Yeah, honestly, it's
Right.
terrible.
Yeah, so I could do it. I could figure it out. You know, I bought all the software, jumped right in both feet, and was like, oh, this is just hunting more money. And so that idea of that experience made me realize that that's not where I want to be at. I want to be developing passive income streams, right? And so really, you know, I mean, Grays Harbor is a great place to invest, but it does look like out of state. I found some crazy duplex deals under $100,000 in like places like Ohio. That I mean, yeah, that are at the 2% rule, right?
Right.
And so that's kind of where I'm being pushed geographically. Being a nerd, I went and you know, looked up through a couple of different websites, and one of them based their information on a moving company that you know put up all their information online, and you know, it was showing, you know, where did everybody from New York migrate to, where did everybody from, you know, the Silicon Valley migrate to, and all that stuff. And you know, just during COVID, you know, what has happened with the migration, you know, a lot of people moved to this place called Kelly, Texas, right? And so there's all these, you know, fun little data points that, you know, that's what I'm going to be doing, is using kind of technology and everybody's push to go out and, you know, look at Comcast and see, you know, where are they putting in high cable, you know, like fiber next, where are they putting in, you know, high speed internet next, and using that to kind of go with my investment patterns for, you know, being on the edge of rural.
There you go. There you go. The one thing I've heard about Ohio, I don't have any personal experience with it, is that you got to be careful. You get great cash flow off the properties, but the properties don't appreciate very much. So if you have a bad tenant and that tenant costs you thousands of dollars, you don't have the backup of appreciation.
And that does seem to be like so I was using PropStream to look up these properties, right? And absolutely that does seem to be the case, where these properties, when they sold, it was 10 years ago, and they absolutely have appreciated, you know, $20,000 in that 10 years. Right. I mean, flat out that's I saw that all over the place on and then PropStream's great because it gives you the data to actually look that up, and it shows you right then and there, you know, what the appreciation not just is as an average, but is for that specific property. And yes, that is a concern. But I actually know a couple of tech guys who have gone back home to Ohio recently, and I think we're going to see pushes to rural places like that with high-speed internet, where folks are going to go where their dollar is worth more. Right. And so I'm willing to bet on that. Right. Especially with places like, I can't remember where it was. I want to say it was somewhere in Kansas, where they were literally, you know, trying to get tech companies to move there, and, you know, that sort of thing, where it's, you know, follow wherever, you know, X business is going to put, you know, some shipping center, you know, whether it's Amazon fulfillment or something like that. And, you know, follow those people and start buying where those sorts of growth opportunities are happening for employment in those rural areas. And yeah, you won't get the appreciation. You might just get a jump real quick for that, you know, 5 years that they're hiring and growing the city, and it might slow down, but I don't know. It just seems, I'm not sure it's the right move, but that guaranteed cash flow is really appealing.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, it's hard to ignore that.
That's
Elon,
the exact reason why I invested in Grays Harbor. is because I wanted that rental market. It is a big rental market, and when I got in over in Grays Harbor, lo and behold, surprise, all of a sudden became an appreciation market as well.
Yeah, and that's like recent though, in the past like 2 years though, like that
Within the last year.
yeah, exactly.
Okay. Now the thing is, and no matter where it's at, okay, and this is not this is not this is not an attempt to discourage, not at all, but rather a lesson that I've learned. You need to be able to have some boots on the ground wherever you're investing.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I know.
Without boots on the ground, you run a high risk of throwing your money away.
Yep. And that's part of the national model is being willing to pay folks to help you out and go in there. And yeah, no, that's going to be a necessity. And I am more than willing to shell out that money to have people I trust be part of a team for doing that. Right. Which is why I'm trying to find an area where I can have a team with boots on the ground and buy several properties in that area that they can, that the team I trust can go out and make those on-site calls, right? Yeah.
So I can't remember what city in Texas, but Elon Musk is moving all of his stuff down there from California, and he's asking everyone around that city and the city and everybody else, hey, we need to build more houses, this, that, and the other, because he's got to house his people and that kind of thing, because it's a very large manufacturing company moving from California to somewhere in Texas. I can't remember what the city is, but
we're seeing a lot of manufacturing move to Texas because of the laxer laws and the fact that whether it's smart or not, people don't have to wear masks, right? And that kind of, we're seeing a lot of that. I've been seeing a lot of people on Facebook, vacationing in places where they don't have to be smart and safe.
Yeah.
And so, in a post-pandemic world, I think we're going to see a lot of that move to those southern and more rural places that are just not quite so Washingtonified. Right? I've lived here my whole life, so I like it here. I'm not going to move, but I'll invest somewhere else, if that's what it takes to cash flow. But also, I was really looking into investing in Chehalis and in Centralia and that kind of stuff, but that place is coming up fast. If I'm going to cash flow there, I've got to be able to fork over for an apartment complex. An apartment.
Yeah, it's getting harder. I've said for the longest time that Lewis County and Cowlitz County were going to both be squeezed like a pimple, because you got Clark County and you got Thurston County and all the pressure coming down from Seattle area and the pressure coming up from, and sure enough, that's where we're at.
Exactly.
They're still looking at an airport in that area.
Yeah.
Are they? Right. Well, maybe I do it then, because I would like to stay on that I-5 corridor, because that's just like appreciation central. But I'll have to run numbers on specific properties to see what the reality of that is.
Yeah, Lewis County is still pretty relatively inexpensive compared to most other counties. Cowlitz is okay, but it's got pockets where it's pushing high.
Yep.
And so
yeah, anything right over the border of Oregon. My buddy lives down in Kelso, and yeah, it's amazing to watch what he's talking about. It's a good, power to him. It's awesome. Things are going great for his Ducati repair shop, right?
Gotta have a Ducati shop.
Oh yeah. All right.
Terrell, what are you working on these days? You're all over Bigger Pockets. He's ranked on Bigger Pockets now, by the way. Yeah. So they rank the top 5 in each category in terms of people that have been responding, getting votes up and stuff like that. And I think it took him about a week and a half or 2 weeks to get ranked. So he was pretty active during that time, and he's staying at the top of there.
I was number 1 in one of them, and now I've dropped down to number 3.
Oh, we got to get you back up to number 1. Got to be the top contributor.
Yeah.
We fight every morning. We generally try to find stuff for him to work on, and me, I just, whenever I do it. And he was going to comment on this one this morning, and he says, I went back to comment, and he said, I refreshed, and he goes, dude, you beat me to it. So, any other questions or thoughts out there?
Gene, what was it that you put in the chat? What was that related to?
That's for me.
Oh, okay. You're muted. Can't hear you. You're talking with your hands.
Oh, Shane?
No, Gene.
No, I was just being a spaz. Excuse
So
me.
what's new?
It was just captured on video that time. I posted that for Clay, kind of a follow up on his subject that Tulsa, Oklahoma is paying people $10,000 to move to their city. It's kind of piggybacks on what he was talking about. I thought it was Kansas, but anyway, it's a neighboring state. That's all.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't remember which one it was, but you're exactly right. There's these places where if they've got high-speed internet, you're going to find these remote employees moving there, right? And so with just a few little checks, yeah, I believe we're going to see for many years to come, as we work the kinks out of remote working for technology, we're going to see a huge push for people to go to wait, I can afford an 8-bedroom house. I don't care if it's flat from here until the sunset. I'm going. And so, yeah,
you can move to the city of Lincoln, Kansas, and get some free land, Clay. I bet it's a paradise there. You probably have to be primary residence. Anyway, I think that's a really brilliant approach, that you're looking at all those factors to kind of try to predict where people are going to land.
That's
all. Get in now.
Yeah, take that 10,000-foot view, right, of where we're moving as a nation, right? What the new economy, we're seeing a huge push just in general of people are realizing after having to homeschool their kids how much they actually like hanging out with their kids, right? Some people really find they don't like it. Some people really find they do like it. And we're going to see it. We're going to see a major split in people who are going to decide that, no, I need to be my own business owner. I need to be able to do something completely online and entrepreneurial, versus folks who are like, I need to get my damn kids back in school, right? And that all hasn't shaken out yet. Right. And so that's kind of what I'm doing, is I'm not like waiting in the wings to make a move, but that is one of the things I am waiting in the wings about. Right. Because I do believe we're going to see some, not, upheaval shifts, but some definite, smoothing out of the pizza dough in some weird directions. And there's going to be a lot of opportunity, I think, there. Because, so I'm glad you think that's smart, because that's what the numbers nerd in me says to do. Right.
Well, and the internet issue is only an issue for about one more year. Elon Musk, I've already ordered, Terrell's ordered our satellite dishes. And
the Skynet that he's putting out, whatever it's called. Yeah.
Skynet. Yeah. Yep.
It's not Skynet. It's
Terminator.
Yes.
No, I think it is Skynet.
I can't remember what it's called, but
it's Starlink.
Starlink. That's
Starlink.
it.
Yeah. So
China is from the Terminator.
We're waiting for them to ship. There's people here in Winlock that have them, and they're currently getting 50, 70 megabits download. And they said by the end of the year, they will have everybody to 300 megabits download. And who knows?
I'm in for that.
Yeah. So honestly, I can't, because I've had internet problems. I live rural, and I've had internet problems for years that I had to resolve, and it cost me a couple $1,000 just to figure out where I need to be. And I finally, I've got decent internet now, but I can't wait to get on Starlink and do that. And that's he's already got the satellites in orbit right now. So basically he just needs to get the dishes out to everybody and
right. So we're talking, so then, based on what I'm saying is, now you just look at a map of where he's rolling out when, and buy property in the areas as he's rolling it out.
It's already all across the United States.
But he's not offering it everywhere, right? You can't grab it everywhere yet. People are on back order for it, from what I understand.
Yes.
That's all I'm talking about.
We were told that we wouldn't have our dishes. We would have our dishes sometime between here and the end of the year. So we're
Right.
just kind of on a.
And so that's what I
holding
mean is
pattern.
in Tulsa, Oklahoma, they might not have it till 2023
Yeah.
because they're going to
It's hard.
prioritize Washington first. Because I mean, let's face it, right?
Yeah.
Silicon Valley, right? There's advantages to living on the coast out here, right? And
Okay. So
you're
we're going
right.
to
Though,
do
in
something
5 years, this is
kinda
going to
different
be
here.
a moot point, right? But then the interesting thing is Comcast is then going to push back against the Pepsi of their Coke, right?
Yeah.
And we'll see what they can do, right? We'll see how much cable they lay once Elon Musk takes enough of their business.
Oh,
They're already laying gigabit almost everywhere. Any new development along the I-5 corridor is getting gigabit.
Exactly. And so now, well, I want to see how they do it rurally, right? I mean, obviously we know that it's going to happen on the corridor, but I want to see where the edges of that map are, right? Because to me, the best investment opportunity is at the edges, right?
Yeah.
But
And that's the thing that Elon's already got basically covered. The only reason that I've heard that the cost of the dish actually costs them more than the $500 they charge you. And so they're trying to get the cost of the dish down before they put a lot of it out.
And
a trial.
Yeah, and that's why I would see, one, that's why it's a benefit to live here, but two, that's why I would give it like a 5-year timeline before we see it available nationally, kind of thing, to where it's like I can just go online and tell them to deliver one to my house no matter where I live.
Right. Ordered on Amazon.
Whatever. Yeah, exactly. Right. 2 clicks away kind of thing. Yeah. Right. One-stop shopping. I see that being a few years
So
away.
has anybody heard how they're solving some of the interference issues with satellite communication? Because weather plays a big part on satellite communication. I don't know if any of y'all. Well, I'm sure Kevin has had satellite TV.
Yeah.
Weather, when you get a snowstorm, bye bye.
I haven't had a lot of loss really.
Sometimes you have to go out there and knock your dish. I
Yeah.
know what you're talking about, Rick.
Our worst storms.
Yeah, I know.
really aren't
I've
that
been
bad.
there. I've done.
Yeah,
been
I mean,
there, done that.
You have to just sort of tap it to get the snow off without taking it out of the asmarant or whatever that word is.
Right, I know that's it.
So
That's how it was at my dad's house.
yeah,
He lived in the middle of trees, so it was very particular about how much service it got. So he'd be like, "Your children, for a reason, get the broom, grab your coat, and go straight off the satellite."
And do it quickly because I don't want to miss my game.
Exactly. It's always during the game, always. But I follow this girl on TikTok, and she owns Airbnbs, and she rented one out for 29 days. And the state that she lives in, after 30 days, you have squatter rights. So what they did is they rented out the 29 days, stayed the 30th day, and then she went over and had to have cops escort them off the property, and is now in a legal battle to remove their squatter rights because of her Airbnb. Like, she owns the house, but they're just staying there. And I just thought that was the craziest thing. So I'm not sure what's going to happen with that, but it's definitely not good.
I've seen videos, more than one recently, where people just gained access to a home, even when there were times that people were living there, but they had left the home, they gained access to the home, and they then had squatters' rights, and you had to go through a full legal action. You couldn't physically remove them. And one of the videos, a biker club got wind of this because it was a military guy they squatted in his house when he was gone. Biker club threatened to show up, and it scared the people so much they left. So yeah, it's happening more and more. It's craziness. How's any other questions anybody has, or any other methods or tactics you want to discuss?
I want to discuss finding a somebody to manage the projects on site for me.
I'm sure you could have Justin's contractor help out with that. Not so much.
There's not like what? Okay, so a contractor. What is a contractor? Like a builder? Like people that build things?
Shane, you want to take that?
Nope.
Yeah, contractors. Yeah, the people that go out and build. They put in the bids, get the material, do the work.
Wait, is my dad
Yeah.
a contractor?
Yep.
Oh, frick.
It's
Your dad is a contractor with, he's Bob the Builder for Billy Nailon. His company he works for is called Nailon. How appropriate, right?
and he owns the business.
No, her dad doesn't own the business. He's the primary builder for the business.
It's kind of
Okay,
funny.
so he's like the general.
Right.
Yeah. My dad taught Billy everything he knew as far as like Billy knew nothing straight out of high school, worked under my dad, and then he took a business degree and took that carpentry experience and then made it a business. And now my dad works under him. I just think that's hilarious.
Nice.
But her dad, Bob, the builder, actually just does whatever he wants to do.
Can we build it? Yes, we can.
Yeah, so he does whatever he wants to do, and he's very notorious for getting new assistants, if you will, and he runs them off the job site. Not very many people that have come to work for Bob the Builder have stuck around.
Well, it's a long story.
What,
If you
poor
might,
guy.
it would make more sense.
He hasn't run everybody off, but most people don't stick around because they just don't have the work ethic and the skill to.
That's
stick
the
around.
big thing is Billy hires the millennials that don't want to work. And my dad says, you're a millennial that doesn't want to work. That's cute. And it doesn't work. So
Yeah. Within days, magically, they find a new career.
so
Work ethic is definitely something that does seem to be lacking in the industry.
Indeed.
Not just this
Either you find really good ones and they are rock stars and they are booked out months, or you find them without work ethic.
my dad's booked out over a year. He cannot take on another project for another year. Kevin, where'd you go?
We miss you so.
You're running the ship and you left us to sink. Oh, fine.
Oh, we got called away by your mama.